You've made it through the inspection, you've made it through the appraisal, everything is ready to go, it's time to close, but not so fast. We've got to make sure you're all packed and ready to move. Hi everybody, I'm David Taylor and welcome to Taylor's Tuesday Tip and Tour. So, the day you never thought would arrive is finally here. It's time to move. So, what are the next steps? Let's talk about this. This is from the seller's perspective. We also have a video from the buyer's perspective also. But from the seller's perspective, there are some things that we can do to make the moving process a little bit easier. So when the contract was written, there was a closing date that was on the contract, and when they wrote the contract, they said, we want to close on June 30th. And most of the time we end up closing on June 30th, but every now and then, sometimes it happens a couple days earlier, sometimes it happens a couple days later. If it happens earlier, that's usually because both the buyer and the seller want to close early. If it happens later, it's usually because something went wrong with the loan. Not a whole lot that can be done about that. So we're not going to worry about that or focus on that. But from the time that you've been through the inspection and the appraisal has come back and everything is good, you should have started packing by now. Typically we have 30 to 45 days between the time that the contract's written and the time we go to closing. So over that period, start packing the things in your closet, start packing the things in your kitchen, pack the cake pans you're probably not going to use unless you bake cakes every single day. And I bake a lot. My stuff was packed up like really quickly. So the things you're not going to use, get those packed and into boxes and you start storing them in a room somewhere. Also, call movers, at least if you plan to have movers move you. Call them and get on their schedule. If you're closing on a Friday, you are going to find that movers are typically pretty well booked on Friday because everybody wants to close on Friday. One of my strategies is to close on Thursdays because it's easier all around, not just with moving companies, but with title companies in particular. So, call the movers though and let them know that, hey, we would like to close on Thursday or Friday or whatever day that is. I need to get a quote, I need to reserve time on your truck, I need to make sure that people are going to be able to help you. Otherwise, you're going to have a problem. If you are going to be moving on your own, then you're probably going to rent a truck unless you've got a truck already. Make sure you reserve that truck, whether it's U-Haul or Budget or wherever you can rent a truck from. Make sure you reserve that truck. The last thing that you want to do is not have a place to go. Moving is incredibly stressful, and you just want everything to go smoothly. And the way that happens is to plan ahead. So you get the contract, call the movers, and get something scheduled for whatever day that's going to be. Okay, so once you have that scheduled, then start packing. So again, closets, kitchen, the things you're not going to use. If you're moving on June 30th, you don't need winter clothes. You should have packed those probably months ago, but get them all packed up. And then, store everything so that you're ready to go. Now, you are going to obviously need to leave beds and chairs and things like that for the movers, but for the most part, get down to as little stuff that isn't packed up as you possibly can. And do this as early as you possibly can. If everything looks great after the inspection, even before the appraisal, get moving, get everything started. The appraiser doesn't care whether or not your house looks, like it's in perfect condition or whether it looks like it's, getting ready to be moved. They just want to know that the living room is 18 feet by 15 feet. That's really all that they care about. So, start the packing and it's going to make your life so much easier. Okay, so the other thing that you need to do is you need to schedule time. You need to schedule a time to have your utilities switched off at the current home, switched on at the new home. And typically you want to do that on closing day. So, if you are closing again on Friday, schedule it to be disconnected, your electricity, your natural gas, your water, whatever it is. your internet and your cable TV, if you still have that. Schedule time for that to be disconnected. Most of the time, you're going to need to do that before the buyer can transfer the utilities into their name. So the sooner you can do it, the better. And you can do it, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks ahead of time. It doesn't matter. You just say, hey, we want it off on June 30th. I know it's only June 1st, but put it in your system, and whether it's ComEd or People's Gas or Northern Illinois Gas, they'll all get that done. The other thing that you want to do is you want to schedule the utilities to be turned on in your new place, especially your internet service. I discovered this, when we moved last year, is we scheduled our internet service to be turned on, and I then found out after we had scheduled it that Comcast didn't serve our building that we moved into. So we get in, I plug in the modem, nothing works, and I'm like, oh gosh, what do I need to do? So what I needed to do is I needed to call RCM, which was the provider for our building. But it would have been so much better had I found that out earlier rather than the day that we moved in. And remember, folks, I do this like every week. I'm advising somebody one way or the other, and I just forgot. And actually I didn't forget, I did it, but Comcast didn't say that they didn't serve the building. They were going to come out, run new wires, and do everything, and we weren't going to have service. Okay, so you've scheduled movers, you've started packing, you've scheduled the service for the utilities. Thank you, that's the word I was trying to remember and couldn't. Then the next thing to do is really get everything ready for your final walkthrough. So typically, but not always, buyers like to do walkthroughs, do a walkthrough when there is nothing left in the house. So the movers have come, the movers have gone, you have cleaned the house. That might be the next thing. We'll come back to that, cleaning. So they're going to schedule the walkthrough, and they want to come and make sure that nothing has happened to the house since they wrote the contract. So if we're closing at noon on a Friday, they may come at 10 a.m. or 9 a.m. on Friday morning, or they may come the night before if everybody's going to be out of the house. In the buyer's video, we talk about what we want to be doing on that end of things, but for the most part, it's just the exact opposite. So the other thing, cleaning. So I should have mentioned that. So you need to clean the house. When you're selling your home, you're leaving, you need to clean it. You need to clean the bathrooms, you need to clean the kitchen, you need to clean the refrigerator, clean the stove, clean the dishwasher, clean the sink. You need to, vacuum or sweep up everything. The contract says that the house is going to be in broom clean condition, which is open for interpretation to most people. But I will tell you, there is nothing worse than buyers coming into a house that is not clean. And I know this because I have been on the receiving end of this. My wife Adrienne and I bought a house 20 years ago or so, and I'm in the truck with the moving guys, and we're getting ready to bring it from one place to the other, and I get the phone call from my wife, who is in tears because the sellers of this wonderful house that we were moving into, they left the place a pigsty. They did absolutely nothing to clean. And our fault for not doing the walkthrough after they got out, but it wasn't good. And there's nothing worse for me as the listing agent than to get the phone call from the buyer's agent saying, hey, your sellers left this place messy. So whether you plan on cleaning yourself or hiring somebody to do it, that is a great thing to do. The hiring somebody to do it is a great thing to do it. And I've got referrals and resources for you if you want to do that. It'll cost you, $200. And it is money well spent. When you're moving, you're like, the last thing you want to do is clean. So that's an option. Okay, so basically then, you've done all the prep work, right? You've scheduled the movers, you've scheduled the utilities, you've scheduled the cleaners, and then the day of actual moving. So the moving company's gonna show up at 8 a.m. or you and your buddies are gonna show up at 8 a.m. and you're gonna start loading everything, moving in, moving out. And whole idea is just to make it go as smoothly as possible. Don't do any damage to the building. Oh, that's another thing. Sorry, I forgot all about this. If you are living in a condo, does not apply if you're living in a house, but if you're in a condo, you're gonna need to let your HOA know that you intend to move out. So you need to tell them, hey, we are moving out on Sunday, June 30th, and we're gonna use the back stairs or the back elevator or whatever. Typically, they're gonna want a deposit from you of $250, $500, $1,000. It just kind of depends upon the building. And that's a damage deposit. So they would just want to make sure you're not going to do any damage. Once everything's done and there's nothing damaged, you'll get your money back. If there is damage done, then they'll pay for it out of that deposit and give you the rest. Okay, so moving, once everything's done, then get the keys to your real estate agent or get your keys to the attorney and move on and go to the next house. Okay, I think we've covered everything, hopefully. Was a little disjointed there, but let's go through the steps one more time. Schedule the movers. Schedule utilities to be turned on, turned off. Schedule cleaners, and make sure that you let your homeowners association, your building know about moving. All right, if you have any questions, leave them down below. Don't forget to subscribe. We have new videos every Tuesday. And if there's anything that I can do for you, please leave a question or comment, or feel free to send me a text, email, or pick up the phone and call me the old-fashioned way. Have a great day, everybody.